everyone. Super excited to be here today for the Chosen for More podcast. Today, we have a phenomenal guest who is actually a friend of mine that had a chance to meet several months ago, Mr. Jason Lockett. Jason is joining us from the Cleveland, Ohio area. He is a phenomenal investor, community builder, financial educator, father, husband, you name it, he has all the titles. So I'm super excited to have him here with us today. Jason, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for the intro. I need to record that and take that on the road.
I'll make sure to send you the recording because you know I'm gonna hype you up.
I appreciate you. I really do.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. I just love having the opportunity to talk with people and talk about their journeys. My whole goal with this whole work that I do is to inspire conversations about building wealth, right? I really want to normalize wealth just in general, especially within the Black community, but just in general. So thank you again for being here.
Oh, anytime. It's certainly a pleasure. I appreciate the invite.
Excellent. All right. So I want to start out by asking just a simple question. Who is Mr. Jason Lockett?
That's a good question. That's a really good question. Jason Lockett, he's a Clevelander for sure. Born and raised here in Cleveland. I own a company called The Breadwinners, and in short, I'm a financial planner. I help people save, budget, long-term investing, personal credit, business formation. I love entrepreneurs, and I think we're in an entrepreneurial space. So whatever advice I can give them along the way, it's certainly a pleasure for me, and I do it for free. I am an avid investor in the commercial and residential real estate market as well here in Northeast Ohio. I want to flip the script on gentrification. And I want to provide paths to home ownership for people here in Northeast Ohio, especially in Cleveland.
Excellent. I love that. Flip the script on gentrification. So tell me a little bit about what that means for you. Why is that important?
It's important because there's two sides to gentrification, right? You have one, let's revitalize the community, but on the other end, you have people that are staples in the community, and those that are staples are essentially being pushed out. But I think about a Jay-Z line when I think about gentrification. He said, "Please don't die over the neighborhood that your mama's renting." And when he said that, I'm thinking, it took me back to my childhood to where I grew up on the east side of Cleveland, and the majority of my friends' parents didn't own the home. And I never really understood how one day they'll just up and move out, and then a week later someone moves in with no for sale sign or anything like that. And as I got older, I quickly realized that they were just renting that property. And you think about land, you think about equity, you think about legacy, and all of those things come together. So in order for us to bridge this wealth gap, gentrification, we have to flip that script and we have to own this land. Because if not, then the billionaire investors that want to put coffee shops on every corner and do all these other things in our neighborhood, they're going to have free will because the owners of those properties are going to sell it because it's a great opportunity for them to get out of the market.
Excellent. You just dropped so many gems and lessons within that whole why response. So thank you so much for sharing that.
Oh, no problem.
Yes. So I mentioned earlier that one of my whole goals when I think about my dream environment, my mentor asked me, like, okay, what is your dream environment? He pushes me, asks me that question. And when I think about it, my whole dream environment is to normalize wealth, specifically within the Black community. So can you tell me a little bit about your journey to normalizing wealth for your family? What has that looked like?
Well, I had to transition my mindset. I got my undergrad from Notre Dame College in 2010 in marketing. And long story, so warning. So I got my undergrad in marketing from Notre Dame College, and this was 2010, 12 years ago. It'll be 12 years in May. And I wanted to buy this car, right? It was at this Cadillac dealership. I remember it like it was yesterday because the dealer, he had on a Steve Harvey suit. I mean, straight up and down Steve Harvey suit. It was the yellow one he had on the Kings of Comedy. And it was a Tuesday at that. So there was this 2006 Cadillac STS. It was champagne with cream leather seats, wood wheel, moonroof. man, I drove that car around in Beechwood, and I'm thinking, I can't wait to go back on campus. I just wanted to go back on campus and stun on everybody. So, you know how some car dealers have, that sticker on the window, and the sticker says, it's $3,500 down and $350 a month. So all is well. I like the car. The music was great. I had the seat back already, and we get in front of the dealer. And of course, a good salesman is going to park your car next to the new car, just so you can see the new car, and that's the car you want to take home. I'm not going to knock them. I mean, that's what they do. So he asked me about how was my credit, and I said, ooh, it wasn't good. It was bad. It was really bad. And I think about that, and we're like, okay. So he pulls my credit, and we go through this process. And during this process, he's like, okay, instead of $3,500 down, it's going to be $6,000 down. Instead of $350 a month, it's going to be $550 a month. But the car was only $9,000. It was $9,900. So the interest rate was 24.9%, the maximum allowed by the maximum allowed by law. Mm-hmm. So needless to say, I didn't get the car. But fast forward, about a year later, my wife and I, at the time, my fiance, wanted to rent this house. And this house was in Garfield Heights. So he pulled both of our credit. My wife had excellent credit. She's really the saver in the family. So she had excellent credit. We were sitting in his kitchen, and he says, Taria, your credit is excellent. Jason, you owe everyone. And they both laughed. And my son was there too. Jason, at the time, he was like 7 or 8. And that was when I hit rock bottom. I mean, as a man, and as like the leader of my home and want to be the leader of my home, I can't have bad credit. So I had to fix my finances. But what was really crazy about that entire process, well, I read the Fair Credit Reporting Act front to back, side to side, the Fair Debt Collection Act, every act that was enacted since 2009. I read it back to back front to back, because I quickly realized that a lot of the things on my credit were inaccurate, which is like, but a lot of it was accurate as well. So, but it's like, okay, I can no longer be afraid of it. I can no longer shy away from having these conversations. And then fast forward, present day, a lot of people are still in that position. We don't want to talk about finances. We'll talk about the weather. We'll talk about sports. We'll talk about what Kanye's up to, and we'll talk about everything under the sun. But when it comes to money, we just don't have that conversation. So that's my plight, and that's what it means to me.
That is again, more gems. And I'm still amazed. I remember you telling me you read that report. I'm just like, where do you even find it? Like, yo, so that's cool. So if somebody is interested, because I mean, credit is it's everything, right? Like once we, have a decent credit score, it gives us access to so many things. So if somebody wanted to learn, like, how do I dig deeper into this so I can figure these things out too? Do I have inaccurate things on my credit report? Where would they find that?
It'll be on, first and foremost, you have to pull your credit report. And you should go on annualcreditreport.com. A great resource is My FICO. That is a terrific resource for people to go to regarding their credit, and because it'll break down how your credit score is created. But of course, they'll never give you the algorithm, but they'll break it down and put it in buckets, starting with your payment history to amounts owed on your credit cards to your credit length, new amounts of credit, and it goes from 35% all the way down to 10%. And once you understand how those buckets work, then you can be in the high 7s, 800s, whatever you like.
All right. So my next question is really related around creating multiple streams of income. So I'm blessed to have the opportunity to be the founder of Stocks and Sorors. And a lot of the women that I come in contact with, one of their goals is to create additional streams of income. And so that makes me think about one thing that one of my other mentors mentions is that one income is too close to done. Okay. And I completely agree with that. So Another thing, though, is that the women that I connect with, they're often just busy professionals. They're doing all the things and then some. So what would you recommend for somebody who is crazy busy, doing the mom thing, the wife thing, the girlfriend thing, or whatever they have going on in their lives, the entrepreneur thing? How would you recommend that they create multiple streams? What could be some practical steps they could take?
Well, first and foremost, you're going to have to sacrifice, because whatever passive income, whatever hustle you're going to do, it's going to take a lot of work up front. I know YouTube paints this really dope picture of you just making all this money in a short amount of time, but trust me, it's not that easy. No hustle is a sacrifice. And then two, what I really love and I really encourage people to do is, what are your hobbies? What are the things you like to do? And start there with your hobbies. And it can be, selling sneakers, it can be doing lashes, it can be makeup, it can be, reselling bags, whatever that hobby is that you're into, and start there and see, can I make money off of this hobby? Because naturally you're already into it. So you wouldn't have to learn more about the business, but you wouldn't have to learn more about like the actual thing, but just how to handle it from a business perspective.
That's good. Good advice. Good advice. So that sacrifice piece, I agree with that 100%, because when I first started investigating, a sister was tired. I'm like, oh Lord, this entrepreneur thing is a lot. But once you get over that hump and you start to see the impact that all of your hard work is making, I'm like, it was all worth it. Like, all worth it. So yes,
I totally agree. I couldn't agree more. I mean, many nights I've cried. I'm crying right now because I'm trying to pass the board to get my certificate in financial planning. And the work is pretty cool, and I'm learning a lot more in a different approach. But oh my God, they give you so much work. It's like, dude, you do know I have a life, right?
Yes, right. Okay. Right. Exactly. The struggle could be real. Okay.
It's super real. Yes. I cry every Monday and Wednesday. I cry.
Yes. Okay, so tonight's topic for our Chosen for More series is really focusing on the mindset of an investor. And I just love the fact, I didn't even know, like when we first started communicating, I didn't know until after the podcast that you was like this dope real estate investor. I'm like, good job. So super proud of you in so many ways. Like, that's amazing.
Thank you.
So let's dig into that mindset. So as we begin our investing strategies, whether it be the stock market, real estate, what have you, like, how do we even get there mentally? Like, what do we need to do to get a good mindset in place so that we can move our investments forward?
Well, that's a really good question. I will start with your relationship with money. And in the finance world, we call it behavioral finance. And we have money scripts, and all these money scripts define your relationship with money. Either you're a spender, or either you're a saver, either you like to look good first and be financially secure later, because you have to address that relationship with your money and understand who you are to develop risk. And okay, what's my risk tolerance? Because investing, there's no guarantee. Your money's not FDIC insured. Once you put it in that stock market, it can go anyway, right?
Multiple ways, right?
It can go multiple ways. So you got to understand and determine that risk, but also goals as well. So starting with that mindset, what I think is, one, your relationship with money. Two, define some goals for yourself, like financial goals. And when you start to think about legacy, like what does that really look like for you, for your family? What type of impact you want to leave on this earth when you move on?
I like that. What is your impact? That's great. So really fleshing that out. What is it that we want to accomplish, with the respective strategies that we're using? Yeah, That's good. Good stuff.
And what piques your interest? It could be like stock trading, like what you're doing. I think it's amazing, but I know you let people know at the front door, like, hey,
right.
It's not all peaches,
right?
And
exactly.
Like I tell people with real estate, you got to be very, very, very careful and do your due diligence when you're looking to properties. It may look like a sweet deal, but in reality, it may not be. And don't look on Zillow, because the moment it hits Zillow, they're going to price it out as high as they can. So that's not really going to leave you room for profit. So, yeah.
So let's talk about that. Tell us a little bit about if a person is interested in like brick and mortar real estate, what are some things that they should be thinking about?
So when it comes to brick and mortar, are we talking commercial or residential?
Let's do residential.
Okay. So for residential brick and mortar, one thing they should be thinking about is, one, the area that they want to buy in. One, are you buying to flip or are you buying to rent? And if you're either or, the next step is you gotta assemble a team, assemble your crew, right? And most of the money is going to be made or lost with your contractors. Those guys, because if you, like me, I'm not really good at like wrenching on things. I don't put up drywall. I can't paint. It's just not my thing, right? I just suck at it. I'm not gonna lie, I suck at it. So I can paint, but I wouldn't paint and expect for someone to go and live in at home. I just paint it.
Like, I know what my stress are. Right?
I do. So, and then you look at it from like a project manager perspective when you're looking at, let's say it's a fixer upper. So now I'm looking at it from a project management perspective. Okay, when was the last time this roof was replaced? What does the inside of the home look like? Of course, we're going to look at carpet. We're going to look at the wall, see if it needs painting or drywall, kitchen and bathrooms, right? But the basement, is it waterproof? Is it finished? Let's look at the concrete outside. Let's look at this, first and foremost, the structure of the house, So you want to get with a really good inspector as well. And it's treated as if that home you're going to live in. My motto is, I will not rent a home or flip a home that is not up to the standard that I won't live in. And I'm uppity, so it gotta be nice. You want to be proud of that home when you sell it to that family, or when you rent it to that family. You want to be proud of what that home looks like.
Absolutely. Love it. Love it. Love it. I'm a little uppity too.
It's all right. You deserve it.
Yeah, exactly. You work hard. So you have the, it's okay to be uppity sometimes.
It's all right. It's all right.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. So my final question, well, I have one more after this, but when we think about getting started with our investing journey, sometimes people feel a little bit like, okay, I started a little too late and I'm playing catch up right now, right? So what advice would you give to someone who feels like, man, I'm in my, let's just pick a number, 30s, or I'm in my 40s, or I'm in my 50s, and I really wish I would have started this when I was like 25, right? What advice would you give that person who's like, I want to do something now, but I feel like I started a little bit too late?
I'm going to say me too, because I wish I would have started at 18. I wish I would have started at 18. And like my father always tell me, you're never too old to learn something new.
Yeah.
And then I introduced them to investor.gov, and we're going to introduce you to that compound interest calculator. And I'm going to show you exactly, it doesn't matter where you start as long as you start now. Because 5 years from now, you're going to say, dang, I wish I would have started 5 years ago. Or 10 years from now, I wish I would have started 10 years ago. And for that, I always walk them right back to, what are your goals? What are your financial goals? Or, do you have children? Yes or no? Like, what do you want to leave to them? So when you start thinking, when you put it into that perspective, they say, you know what, it's not too late. Because it's until you're 6 feet under, or you're like incarcerated, or you're incapable of doing it, you still can do it, regardless of how old you are.
Absolutely. Agree 100%. 100%. Excellent. Love it. Love it. Love it. Well, Jason, it's been such a pleasure having a conversation with you this evening. So if somebody wanted to contact you, how do we contact you? And then also, if you have anything coming up that we can support you with, please let us know that as well.
Oh, absolutely. So you can contact me. My website is thebreadwinnersllc.com. And I have some pretty cool information up there about investing, about personal credit, budgeting, which is like the foundation and what I absolutely love, but no one wants to hear. So I have just about everything on my blog, and I update it quite often. You can contact me there. I'm on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. I'm all over the place. It's just Jason Lockett, Lockett Sr. S as in Sam, R as in Robert. And through any of those mediums, you'll be able to find me.
Excellent. And how do we find your podcast?
Oh, I'm sorry, my podcast. Yes, it's called Slice of Pie, and it's on YouTube. It's on Spotify, and you can find it on those two mediums. And the link is in my bio. It's in my bio on my Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn page.
Excellent, excellent. And do you happen to have anything coming up that we can support you with?
Yes, I'm waiting for the materials to be created, but I am being highlighted at my college, Notre Dame College, as the alumni. And
congratulations! That's amazing.
You. And it's Black History Month too, so we're going to do something pretty cool for the students there, and I think that is February 17th. So once I get the flyer, I'll tag you in it, and then we can disperse it from there. It's like a full circle moment for me because I went to Notre Dame. I was 21. I started late. I didn't go to college right out of high school. So for me to be where I am now and be able to go back there and give them my spiel and then teach them as well, because these kids need to learn. So I told them I'm not death by PowerPoint. So you're going to get hands-on. We're going to do this thing.
Yes, I love it. I love it. It is so important to talk to young people too, because if they just get started now, just imagine where they'll be later in their career. So even at like 22, 23, when you graduate, just put $100 in your Roth, right? Or it's just creating a habit. Just create the habit. That's all I tell them, is create the habit. You can ball out and still invest and be responsible. Like, you got to find that balance. And the workshop I teach is balling on a budget with them. And then I like that.
we go through this whole scenario, and I give them tons of scenarios, and then I correct them on like different ways to do it. And I just hope that it captures them, because I said, once you graduate and you start accumulating all that money, then your mind is going to, hey, I want to buy this car. Hey, I want to live in this apartment. Hey, I want to buy this house, or do this and do that. And it's like, slow down, slow down, and let's think this one through. So we go through the different budgeting strategies and take it from there.
Excellent. I love it. I love it. Well, I might want to bring you back to the Stocks and Swords community so we can talk about budgeting and things like that too.
Yes. If anyone wants to listen.
Awesome. All right, everyone. Well, thank you so much for again listening to the Chosen for More podcast. I'm super excited that you have chimed in and listened to this wealth of information that's been shared today by our brother, Mr. Jason Lockett. So check us out again in our next episode. All right. Bye-bye.